So it is 9 o'clock. Good morning, everyone. I hope that you're all staying well and staying busy. Welcome to another exciting and informative Zoom town hall. Before we get started, I think we should just take a minute and or a moment and remember what happened on 9/11 several years ago. I know that it's an event that changed many lives, and I think we should just think for a second about those lives that it changed, those people that lost them, those people that lost family members, and how much it changed the families that were anywhere near that at the time, and even the impact of the skirmishes and battles that have taken place as a result of it. Many people gave up a lot as a result of that, and I think that at the very least, we owe them just a moment of silence. So give that some thought if you would, please. Okay, very good. Thank you. Well, here we are, another Zoom town hall. I know this is not the way that we all prefer to meet. We like to hug and shake hands and bump knuckles and all those kind of things, but I'm glad that we at least have this option. We've been able to use this over the past several months to pass on a lot of information and still kind of get together. And so I'm glad that this is here. And along with that, I would like to thank Connie and Daniel, and of course our terrific association staff for helping with not only these meetings, but with everything that they do. They work very hard. I know we don't see them like we used to, but they are still working hard. I was looking at some call volume the other day, and Connie will attest to the fact that you are keeping her folks very busy, even remotely. So thanks for your cooperation and your confidence in getting things taken care of that way. You know, I don't know the date of the COVID cure yet, but I do know the cure dates of some COVID-induced boredom. The first date coming up is September 24th, which is a drive-in movie night. Should be a blast, and any money raised will go to the Scholarship Foundation. And the second date is October 8th, when we will have our annual golf tournament. So please go to the SRCAR calendar for more information on those events, and of course any of the events that are coming up. Just a housekeeping thing, as we go through this next part of the town hall, if you have questions or thoughts or anything, I'm sure by now we've done enough of these, and you've done enough of these certainly to know how to work the chat box. So if you will just type your question in the chat box, Daniel will be monitoring that for questions for our speaker. And we will, when the time comes, he will go through those questions. So just jot them in the text. Just jot them in text in the chat box, and we'll get to them when we have that chance. The third cure date that we have is actually today, when we have the privilege of hearing from a friend of mine and a longtime friend of Realtors everywhere. Vince is a third-generation realtor and the CEO and broker of Malta and Company Incorporated. He's been in the real estate business for 43 years. And has served in the industry in countless roles. On a national level, Vince has testified before Congress multiple times on behalf of NAR on issues such as the impact of increasing conforming loan limits, insurance reform, housing policy. He has served on the NAR Board of Realtors from 2002 to present, and was the 2010-2011 Vice President of Government Affairs. In 1988, or since 1988, he's been deeply involved with the California Association of Realtors. In 2002, he became an honorary state director for life. In 2006, CAR elected him president. He was awarded Realtor of the Year for the state of California in 2007. Before all of those things, he was a graduate of the University of San Francisco and the University of San Francisco School of Law. So it is now my pleasure to turn the time over to a realtor from San Francisco, who just happens to be the 2020 president of the National Association of Realtors, Mr. Vince Malta.
Thank you, Terry, and hello to my friends in Southwest Riverside County. It's great to be in the company of my fellow Californians, even though it's through a screen. And I know besides 9/11, this is a difficult time for many of our friends and neighbors who, with fires and evacuation orders forcing people from their homes, our thoughts and prayers are with all of those impacted. These fires are just the latest crises we've faced in our state and in our nation this year. If you look at a map, you're going to see fires and smoke all on the West Coast. I've been getting messages from all of our Oregon members, Northern California members, and I hope that with the winds that are popping up, I guess the Santa Anas, that things are hopefully going to be minimal down in Southern California. But this adversity also makes meetings like this one, where we can share information and support one another, more important than ever. In many ways, the Realtor team is, I think, never felt stronger, more connected. This is a testament to the resilience shown by all of you, not only through your association, but by what you do day in and day out in your business. So thank you for all that. And I'd like to share a moment to offer a special thanks to your SRCAR president, Terry Ryan. Terry and I go way back at CAR. So Terry, thank you for all you're doing locally and at the state level. Very much appreciated. Your president-elect, Jenna Garza, your past president and chief financial officer, Denise Wilson, your board of directors, and of course, your CEO, Connie Lynch. You know, none of us asked for some of what has happened in 2020. But you could not have asked for better SRCAR leadership. So again, thank you. And I hear that you did a blood drive that you organized in Hemet just a couple of days ago. And that's just another great example of the leadership and thought of community that Realtors are demonstrating during these challenging times. So again, thank you, everyone on this call that is joining us today. That's a testament of your involvement and making us work as a great Realtor team. When it comes to community leadership, one of the areas that NAR and its members must lead on for our industry and our country, and I know that this has been on the front page of our papers with racial and social justice movements going on in the country, some of the things that we've seen relating to appraisal and how that's not being done properly for some people of some races. We must lead our industry and our country on fair housing. This is in our wheelhouse. We must help more families build wealth through the American dream of homeownership. And earlier this year, NAR leadership team adopted a Fair Housing Action Plan. I hope you're hearing more about it. It's ACT, which stands for Accountability, Culture Change, and Training. I hope that you could watch our video on bias, which can be found on our website. Just do a search on that. It's 45 minutes. I got so much out of that in creating protocols for how I treat every client, because we know and have discussions all the time about what we shouldn't be saying, but we need to create dialogues of what we should be saying to better serve a very diverse clientele, especially of this state. So I hope that you have an opportunity to look at those things. I hope that you, if you're interested more, that you get your certification on diversity. It's called At Home with Diversity. And NAR is doing so much in the way of collaborating with different groups right now. We're pivoting our strategic thinking to look at the issue of diversity and how it impacts our industry and how we could be leaders in that. So you're going to see a lot coming forward. I hope you're going to be proud of our work there. And again, it all begins with you. So please take a look at some of those resources online so that we can build more inclusive communities and demonstrate to people that we're leading in this area. So in addition to building more inclusive communities, Realtors are leading our communities through the COVID-19 pandemic. NAR partnered with a research firm on a series of surveys to explore how home buyers and sellers expect home sales transactions to be handled in this new environment. About half of buyers and sellers said that during the pandemic, relying on a real estate professional when searching for or selling a home is much more important than before. So here's a huge way that we demonstrate our value proposition with our clients, because a lot of sellers right now are on the fence as to what's going on in relation to COVID and other issues, maybe the fires now, but they need to be convinced that they could put their properties in the market, that they'll sell, that they'll get a good price for them, and that they could go through this process safely. And we have been demonstrating that over the last 6 months from coast to coast. And we're not just fortunate that real estate has been deemed an essential service, but we make up approximately 1/5 of our nation's economy. Imagine for a moment if we were in the airline industry or the hotel industry, and the hurdles that we need to go through over the next several years, perhaps. So we've demonstrated that we can do this as this virus ebbs and flows, and we will be monitoring and adhering to local and state mandates to what we need to do and develop best practices. So again, the conscientious efforts that we make now are really having an effect on our upward trajectory as we've seen the numbers come in from June and July. I think sales jumped up 25% from our economist, Lawrence Yun. And we've had about 3 consecutive months of growth. So hopefully we're going through what's called a V-shaped recovery, and that we could adjust as we've been doing through various areas and climates. So thank you for all you're doing that, for looking out for your clients. While you're looking out for them, NAR is looking out for you in Washington, D.C. And we've secured major wins for realtors in COVID-19 relief legislation. Realtors made sure that independent contractors and those commission-based income were eligible for SBA loans, unemployment assistance, and paid sick and family leave. Now, let me stress, this was the first time ever that independent contractors were eligible for stimulus funds. So you all made history. And we also stood up for consumers, supporting mortgage forbearance measures that allow borrowers of government-backed mortgages to request up to 360 days of payment forbearance. And any of you who were in business back in 2009, 10, and 11, you know how important it was to keep people in their homes. We urged Congress to take quick action to appropriate more funds for the Paycheck Protection programs and EIDL programs. And thanks to your help, we approached Congress again, and they passed some correction bills to make that process flow a little easier. Now, it was not an easy process because so much was done in such little time, but still, many of our members and some of our clients were able to take advantage of some of those programs, and hopefully that helped them. And if they come to you with questions, you can either give them our website, which is full of information that almost changes daily in relating to guidance to that, or please go to that. It's at nar.realtor/coronavirus. Again, that's nar.realtor. And what I do is I just go to nar.realtor and I search in the search function for many of the things that I'm looking for, like the bias video that I referred to earlier, et cetera. So, you know, we're not done yet. We're working on other programs. We're working on the American Dream Down Payment Act, which is getting some traction in the US Senate. And it just aims to establish an account that functions much like a popular 529 education savings account, so that people will have a down payment for housing. And we're urging Congress to take action on rental and unemployment assistance. You know that there's another bill that they're looking at, another relief bill that hopefully they will get passed by the end of this month. Whether they're going to combine it with the budget discussions or trying to extend our flood insurance program, all these things are going to hit at the end of this month. So stay tuned. Really, nothing's off the table given this year with an election looming, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Some of the other things that we're working on at the national level, a nationwide remote online notarization law so that online closings can take place in all 50 states, including right here in California. Liability protections for businesses, so our brokerages that reopen as long as you follow federal and state guidelines, providing you somewhat of a safe harbor, expansion of the forbearance and unemployment assistance, and more reforms to 1031 like-kind exchanges. So we're trying to help those investors meet their deadlines and pushing them off a bit, as well as opportunity zone programs. So on top of all of this, some of you might have heard that there's an election this fall. And your voice is more important than ever. Now, I always get the question, and so I don't want to preempt it, but who is NAR supporting in the presidential election? We don't support presidential election candidates. What we do is we make sure that our issues are in their platforms and that they're speaking about our issues. And that's so vitally important because our issues really transcend both sides of the aisle. And that's why we call the Realtor Party the purple party. We're not red or blue, we're purple. And that helps me at cocktail parties as well when they ask who I personally support. I always say the Realtor Party. So hopefully that helps you, okay? So our message remains the same this year, and that is this. And Terry could probably tell you, as I mouth it, vote, act, and invest, okay? NAR has created resources for you to encourage voting. That's so very important. I think if you want to know, in our nation, 74% of realtors voted in the last election. Why isn't that 100%? So let's work on that. So you can find the full 2020 election toolkit for members and associations at realtorparty.realtor. So there's another site, realtorparty.realtor. And you can share those resources with anyone. And so don't forget to use the hashtag RealtorsVote. So very simple tools, and let's get out and vote. Your vote really, really counts in this election. Before I close today, I just want to remind you that NAR is here to serve our members any way we can. And when this COVID-19 thing hit, we knew that if members ever needed their association, this was it. This was the time. And so we took everything we have in the NAR toolbox, and took it out and provided many educational programs and health benefits for our members. And we've made more than $20 million since April of this year worth of business critical tools, educational resources available to members for free or at a significant discount through our Right Tools, Right Now program. And you could access those still, okay, by going to the website. It's, I'm just full of websites. I'm really sorry, but again, go back to the main website. You could do a search for all this, but it's nar.realtor/RTRN. That's RTRN for Right Tools Right Now for more information on the programs. And one thing that I thought was really helpful is if you remember back in March, April, a lot of people were afraid to leave their homes. And so if they were getting any kind of symptoms, they would have to go to a hospital or a doctor's office. And what we tried to provide you is another alternative, and that was members' telehealth plan. And I hope some of you took advantage of that. You could still take advantage of that at half cost, but we provided it to you for free for several months so that you could use your phone, your computer to talk with a physician and show them your symptoms so that you didn't have to leave your home if you felt that way. Because let me say, when it comes right down to it, your health and safety are first and primary with us. And everything we do as a leadership team at NAR puts our members first. And how does this affect our members? And so I thought this was a great way that NAR expressed that. So again, hopefully you use that. It's still available to you at half the cost. Go to the website, take a look at that. And I can't say this enough. We're so proud of the resilience displayed by all of you. You know, it really stepped up our game as associations at the local, state, and national level. If our members can do this, so can we. And I'll never forget back in early March when we had to ban travel. And we were looking to say, well, gee, will this affect our May meetings? Okay. We may have to postpone our May meetings to July. So I went back and I looked in the archives of NAR, and NAR in its 112-year history postponed only one meeting ever of our board of directors, and that was November of 1944. And for you historians would know that that was right in the middle, or right at the end of World War II. And they held the meetings in 1945. Today, that wasn't a possibility, and we pivoted, and we provided our meetings online. Now, here we are in September, and I'm saying this, and it seems like old hat, but the importance of why I'm bringing this up is that to me, and to many, that was just unimaginable, that we would have online meetings. And if we can do the unimaginable, it made us feel that we can do anything and face anything that comes ahead of us. And sure enough, as you know, in your business, this has been a very fluid situation. And I hope that you have the confidence now that no matter what happens and what else comes up this year or next year, is that we have demonstrated that resilience and adaptability. So I think that if there's any silver lining of 2020, I think you should be very proud of what all of you have accomplished this year. It may not have been the most fun year. It's certainly not what we asked for. But again, you really, really were successful beyond imagination. So I just want to leave you with, while much remains uncertain, there is one thing for sure. All of you realtors are going to lead this country, including our great state of California, through the recovery for a more prosperous future. Yes, we have a lot that lies ahead, but it's all of us working together will achieve that. So I ask you to be well and stay safe. And thank you. And Terry, if we have time for questions, please feel free. I'll be happy to answer any questions your members have.
Let's see, Daniel, Daniel was monitoring questions in the chat room and things. Do you have anything on there that people put in there that Vince could address at this time?
Mr. Malta, you covered everything so far. I haven't seen any questions come through. However,
I have
looks like
if you don't have any, yeah, Vince, if you don't have any questions, can you tell us about your baseball bat history?
You want to know about that?
I love this story. You talked about it at NAR when you got a very famous bat, and
Okay.
you put it with the being ethical.
Okay, well, just hang in with me. The message is that your expertise and education matter. And that's what this is all going to be about. And so I have this hobby that Connie's talking about, where I collect professional game-used baseball bats of Hall of Famers, ranging all the way from Babe Ruth to present, okay? And it turned into it was what a hobby turned into a profession. And so I have a side business where I authenticate baseball bats for auction houses and collectors. And we try to tell you whether the player used that bat. Okay? And so people pay a lot of money for these bats. And the story that Connie is talking about is, it was two. My first bat that I ever bought was a Jackie Robinson game used bat that was signed by Jackie Robinson. And I later came to find out that the bat was made in 1973. And any of you know that anything about Jackie Robinson, he could not have used the bat because his last season was 1956 or 56 or so. He would not go and play for the Giants because he was going to be traded. And he died in 1972. So he couldn't have played or signed the bat. So what I realized was I had a letter of authenticity and it really said nothing. It just said that someone gave me this bat and they said this. Just like a lot of people in real estate, they'll say, well, I believe this or whatever. And that's why real estate professionals are out there and they use their expertise and their education and their knowledge to guide people through the process. So I realized there were no experts out there. They were all self-proclaimed experts. And I studied it. And when I started, there were about 30 bat authenticators in the hobby. And now there is just myself and my business partner in New Jersey who does this. And the bat story that Connie's referring to is there was a bat that came into a Los Angeles baseball card shop some years ago. And it was for sale. And the shopkeeper offered the guy, I believe, $25,000 for the bat. It was a signed Babe Ruth bat, okay? And guy took the money, and then the shopkeeper sends it to us for authentication, and whether we, he wanted to double his money. And we looked at the bat and realized that it was extremely special. It had written on the bat, to the home run champ of Los Angeles, okay? April 18th, 1923, Babe Ruth. Well, my business partner and I realized that this was one of 4 bats because New York Yankees had a promotional program with the Los Angeles Evening Herald. I don't even know if that paper exists, but that's what it was. That the person that hit the most home runs in their high school league in Los Angeles would be awarded the bat that Babe Ruth hit his first home run of the season with. And they did this between 1922 and 1926. So I guess there were 5 of them. This bat was dated April 18th, 1923. Babe Ruth's first home run of the season was opening day of Yankee Stadium, the very first game ever played in the house that Ruth built. And Babe Ruth hit the first home run in that stadium, and he hit it with that bat. With our letter of authenticity, that bat sold months later for $1.3 million. Now, John and I, my partner, could have offered them $50,000, okay? But we realized the importance of information that you do every day for your clients. Imagine how much are they leaving on the table with instant offer, okay? With other models out there. Because we provide value, and we provide value through our knowledge, okay, and our abilities and our education. So that's the analogy that we use with my crazy bat hobby and real estate. And so that's what all of you do each and every day. Don't underestimate your value. It's so there. So thank you. I hope was that the story, Connie? Because I think that went pretty long. I don't want to tell the other story. So we're good?
Yeah, that was the story. That's a great story and an inspiration to all of our members. Don't underestimate your value because
Right.
you're very important in our industry and we value you.
And all of you that are in leadership this year, another little message I want to provide is that, you have, and I bet you Terry and Connie and all of your team had a plan for this year, okay? And that plan was, I don't know about yours, but mine really got kind of thrown out the window, okay? We pivoted, okay, as a team, because this is what came up. And people will come up to me, and I know that this is, Vince, I feel so sorry for you that this happened during your year. or Terry, you must get that a lot. I was so sorry this happened during your year of leadership. And many of you that are coming into leadership, I'm not going to feel sorry for you, because I think that we've all been given somewhat of a great gift to witness all of you in what you're doing for your businesses, your community, your industry. Being a leadership in a time of crisis is not something that we hope for, but it's something that is truly awesome, because I think what you do every day is more meaningful. An interaction with your client is more meaningful than ever. How are you doing? Is everything okay? Do you need to know anything about what's going on with real estate right now and any programs that might be of assistance to you? Just feel free to call on me. That means so much to them when you reach out to them, because people right now are remembering you more for what you do or don't do. So keep that in perspective. So don't feel sorry for us. We're going to continue in leading in other ways, and we look forward to fostering leadership with you and passing on anything we can to help you through whatever next crisis comes up.
Daniel, I think you said that a couple of questions came in.
Yeah, one came in. One of the attendees was wondering, what is NAR's position on the extension of the moratorium on evictions for non-payment of rent? Landlords still must pay mortgages, insurance, and taxes without rent.
Okay, excellent question. And we have a call for action. We had a targeted call for action to members of Congress saying that we have great concerns regarding the order without a companion piece that helps property owners. So you have a moratorium on evictions, and unfortunately we have this in our state right now, but across the country you have this moratorium on evictions and you have nothing to safeguard property owners during that same period. So we have a call for action on that, and I believe last night I was asked to extend the call for action to all members of Congress, because it's going pretty well. And so if you're an FPC, Federal Political Coordinator, that has a relationship with a congressperson and you haven't been contacted, you will be, most likely. And so we're going to be looking for relief for property owners with that as well, and to make that part of the next relief package that, again, we're hoping gets done before the end of this month.
Anything else, Daniel?
One just came in, it's in the chat. It says, I have an escrow where I'm representing a buyer, but there's a tenant in the home. How can we close that escrow with it vacant when they do not want to leave?
Okay, so that's a difficult it's a difficult question, because it depends on your local jurisdiction, I would imagine, because in some counties courts are not open, sheriffs are not doing things. There is a moratorium on evictions at the state level, and probably your leadership could talk more to that, because I'm even confused while I'm sitting in my own state, because I was just, let's say, in Maryland that has one, and I was just in Massachusetts that has another. So I don't want to confuse you, but it is a problem in getting possession. And I'm going to also warn you that it's somewhat of a fluid situation, but I believe it'll depend, again, on when your courts are going to be processing these.
Okay. All right, I don't see anything else on there, unless, Daniel, you see something on there that we've overlooked or that hasn't already been answered. I know there were some questions there that kind of got answered along the way, so that's good. Anyway, Vince, we certainly appreciate the time that you spent with us this morning. And in addition to that, we appreciate all that you and your leadership team do on behalf of us on a daily basis. I know that it's an ever-changing, ever-pivoting. It's more than one pivot I think we've had to take, and I'm sure you've had to take multiple pivots as well. It seems like every time you go one direction, you have to turn to another. So we are so grateful for your leadership at this time, and the team that's behind you. And we appreciate all you do. I look forward to seeing you in person one of these days.
That'll be nice.
It's been a while. But
That'll be nice. And again, right back to you. Thank you for all that you're doing. It takes the local, state, and national associations to work together. And again, thank you for all of us joining today for your commitment and your engagement.
yeah, you know what? I suspect that we're all going to get through this, and we will be stronger for it, and the people that we're around will be stronger for it. So thanks again so much, and thanks everyone that chose to attend this morning. I hope that you found value in it. I know it's 2 in a row. We've had 2 days in a row of town halls, but that was just the scheduling issue. So thanks so much for everybody, and we love you, and let's go help some people.